down there.
You said it's 3 or just 2?
It's 3. It's Geo-Tab Drive, JCT Hub, and the other one's Drive-Wyze.
Drive-Wyze?
Yes.
Got any Netflix or anything on here, sir?
No Netflix. No Netflix. That's fine. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Everyone got that? All right, great. Okay, so after that, we want to go into apps, which is right below battery and device care on this left-hand side. Okay. And yeah, after we tap apps, it's going to show all the apps we've got in the tablet over here. We want to tap into Drive-Wyze. So go ahead and find Drive-Wyze on this right-hand side. Tap into it. All right, and here we want to do a couple different things. One is go into where it shows battery for Drive-Wyze and tap into that. And we want to change this battery option to show unrestricted, not optimized. All right, everyone got that? All right, great. Okay, after that, we want to go back a page. Let's tap the little back arrow. And then we want to change this appear on top option. If that shows is off, you want to tap in there and flip that switch to turn it on. Everyone got it? Wonderful, all right. I'm going to tap the little back arrow up there at the top where it shows app info. And then on this right-hand side, I want to find JCT Hub. And tap into that. And then on this right-hand side, it again will show appear on top. If it shows this off, you want to make sure you change that to show as on.
Are we doing the battery thing on this one too?
No, not the battery thing, just the appear on top option.
So that can still be on optimized?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, does everyone have that one taken care of? All right, great. We're ready to get moving here. So what I'm going to do is tap this little circle at the bottom of my tablet. Get back to this diamond plate screen. And then I want to tap that JCT Hub app in the top left-hand corner.
Wait, what background?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, the little circle. Oh, you're perfectly fine right there.
right.
You want to get to JCT Hub in the top left-hand corner. Yep. All right, so there's going to ask you to log in. To log in, your driver code, of course, is just your driver code. And your password is going to be the last 4 of your social.
What's the driver?
Oh, that's not you, huh?
Wait, what we going into?
You're still under a load.
The JCT?
JCT Hub, yeah.
It's a nice
It's showing me an error on
Okay. It's possible that might be the case
Is
for
it capital letters?
It should automatically capitalize that driver code for you, so you don't have to worry about putting in the capital letters.
Last name and
I got that. So if it doesn't have you being able to log in,
yeah.
it's possible we just don't have you built quite yet. Just because you guys are in orientation, you might not be totally set up yet. But that's okay, we can still continue on. It's worth at least setting up the settings, you know. All right, is anybody else willing to get logged in? No?
Yeah.
I'll consider that a no. It's all right.
All right.
I could have sworn I seen my code yesterday.
It was probably in your email. I got
Yeah.
mine in my email.
All right.
Oh, it was
You got logged in?
Oh,
No, you didn't get logged in.
mine has a.
Oh, I just clicked on it, it opened up, I guess it had somebody else's,
Oh.
somebody else's information on it.
Driver's out.
Let me try that out.
Might be on my side.
Maybe you got the wrong tab.
Nah, probably the previous user didn't log out.
Is that wrong?
Don't tell me you guys switched that.
So see, mine is the last, first four messages. My first initial
Drive code within whatever Tiffany sent you via your email. All right, so yeah, just grab a seat wherever. Is your wife going
Should I hook up to the Wi-Fi?
Oh, okay.
I do not know.
Is there service on here, or do we need to hook up to the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it is. It is AT&T based. You might need to hook up to the Wi-Fi. Is it telling you have like signal issues?
That's probably why we didn't connect.
Maybe. We're just talking about getting logged into the system here. So what you want to do is get into that JCT Hub app in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, I'm logged in.
Oh, you're already logged in.
I'm looking for a way to accept the line, let's go find out.
Got you. Okay, well, we'll go over that.
This sucks.
All right. Well, okay, let's go ahead and get started here. Okie doke. So this is JCT Hub here. As far as what you can do in here, you can do pretty much anything you want to do. As far as sending messages, sending your macros, accepting pre-plans, scanning in your bills, getting to your hours of service, it's all through this application first, JCT Hub. Now with JCT Hub, first place we want to start is in this messages option down here at the very bottom where it shows messages. So I'm going to go ahead and tap into that. So here it's going to show on the left-hand side my inbox. Every message that I get will come through on this left-hand side of my messages screen. As far as reviewing one of these messages, all I got to do is tap into it, and it will pull the contents of that message over here to the right-hand side. From there I can read that. I can also reply to messages in this section. So for instance, say I get a message from my DM saying, hey, are you ready for this load? I can reply to that message by tapping on this line below that message. So if I tap into that line there, it will pull up a keyboard where I can then reply to that message with a good old yes, maybe. And then tap send over there to the right to send that message on out. All right. You'll also notice in the top right-hand corner over here, I've got a pencil and an envelope with a plus sign. That pencil right there, if I tap on that, that would allow me to select messages and then delete them. So if at any point I no longer need a message, if I just want to clear up my inbox space, I can do that by, again, tapping that pencil up there in the top right-hand corner, selecting messages, and then tapping that trash can in the top right-hand corner. And that would delete those messages. Gone forever. Now you'll also see in the top right-hand corner, to the right of the pencil is an envelope with a plus sign. If I tap that envelope with the plus sign, that is going to pull up my list of macros that I can choose between. So as far as sending a macro goes, all of them will be on this page. Again, first place you want to be is in this messages section, and then that envelope with the plus sign in the top right-hand corner will get you right there. Now previously, our macro 0 was at the top of this list. Now macro 0 was for free-form message. But if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you'll see that it has been moved from macro 0 just to the bottom of this screen here, showing new free-form message. So I can type in my message right there and send that. You'll also see right above new free-form message, it's going to show select a contact. And if I tap that, that will let me direct my free-form message to any of these departments. So if I wanted to send a message to breakdown, or maybe HR, or my driver manager, likely one that you'll have to be sending a lot of free-form messages to, settlements, or the shop, I would just want to tap any of those options right there to get that message straight to them. Okay, any questions about any of that? Setting macros, no? All right, great. Okay, next up, I want to talk about the pre-plan. So your pre-plan will initially come through as a message. You'll receive a notification, and it will come through this section. You'll see here, if I tap on this option right here for pre-plan information may change, it will show me the basic details of my load over here on the right. Also showing things such as like my load number, where I'm going to be going, where my final stop is going to be, Sapulpa, Oklahoma, so on and so forth right there. You'll also notice if I check out this order number, it shows a highlighted in blue text 2130521, a hyperlink that if I tap into, that would pull up my load. So from that, I can get to my pre-plan, where it will show commit or reject. So again, that's on this messages page. All I got to do again is tap that hyperlink right there in the blue text.
Kyle, your pointer I put on the thing I dropped. I don't know if you're looking for it.
I am looking for it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. It's going to make it a lot easier here. All
Sorry-
right. So
sorry about
yeah.
that.
No, you're totally okay. All right. Yeah. That's what you would want to tap onto. So that is one way you can get to your pre-plan. The other way is going to be back on the home screen here. So I'm going to go back to the home. And on this page, you'll see on the left-hand side, I will have this loads section. If you guys would, please turn to page 4 in that handout I gave you, or that Tiffany gave you. Shout out Tiffany. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you'll see on that top image there on number 4, it shows the load section showing you're not currently dispatched on a load. So it will continue to show that until you have committed to that pre-plan. You'll also see right below that you're not currently dispatched on a load section. It shows this view all loads box. I'll scroll down on my screen so you can see it on mine as well. Right over here, view all loads. So there you'll see it shows one pre-plan on this paper in that dotted box. On mine it shows 0 pre-plan. So if I was to receive a pre-plan, that 0 right there would change to a 1, similar to what you're seeing on page 4 there. As far as checking that pre-plan out, all I got to do is tap this box right here with the arrow, and it would pull that up. Or at least it would pull up this page first. Now this page is going to be my history of loads. It will have every load that I've completed on this page. It'll also show on those old loads a $sign attached to it. Now for me, I show this yellow $sign up here, which would indicate to me that I have not yet been paid for that load. If that was to turn green, that would indicate that I have been paid for it. So on this page, I can keep track of what loads I have and haven't been paid for, what money is going to be coming my way soon. Along with that, if I tap into any of these old loads with the $sign on it, it will pull on the right-hand side the details of that load that I completed, where I can see all the stops I went on, as well as any documents that I scanned in for this load. With that as well, it will show the scan document button. So I know a lot of drivers like to scan in their bills, their trip sheets, all of that, after they've completed the load, not while they're on the load. So if you want to scan in your documents after you've completed it, this is where you want to look. In this View All Loads section, you just tap on that old load, and then tap Scan Document to get to scan. Any questions about any of that so far? Yes, sir.
I know it mirrors on the app on the phone. Can I still scan and use my phone, or does it have to be on the tablet?
It's a great question. Yeah, so this application is available to you on your phone. You can download it. Where that comes in handy is in the case of like you not being by your truck and needing to send a macro or a message or maybe even accept a pre-plan. You can do all that through your phone. Everything that's available in this application, you can also do on your phone application as well. Now, it does matter if you have an Android phone, you can download it straight from the Play Store. However, if you have an iPhone, you'll have to download an application from an email that I will send you. If you have an iPhone, just get with me after class. I'll write down your email and we'll get it going. All right?
Can I be logged into my phone and the Qualcomm, well, this thing at the same time?
Yeah, the Qualcomm tablet, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Okay, so the pre-plan. My pre-plan will be at the top of this page. I'll also be able to tell that's my pre-plan because it will not have one of these dollar signs by it. So this load is not, or it is without a dollar sign. That is how I know that's my pre-plan. I'm going to go ahead and tap into that now. Okie doke. So yes, it's going to show this page here. On the left-hand side, it's going to show at the very top my load number that I'm under. You'll see up here at the top it shows order number 2130521 with a -01. That 01 right there just indicates that that's going to be the first stop of my load. If I had already picked it up, this 01 would change to an 02, and that would indicate that I'm on my drop for it. Okay. All right. Below that, it's going to show at the very top my customer name, as well as where I'm picking up from, Dallas, Texas, and where I'm dropping off to, in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. If I scroll down on this left-hand side, I'll see all of the details for the load that you definitely want to make sure you check out before you commit or reject it. You'll also see underneath it, it might show something like special instructions with a little down arrow. If you tap that down arrow, it will expand to that section and give you more details about what you can expect about these stops. Okay? Now below that, if I scroll down, it will show, let me minimize that, it will show all of the stops that I've got. So on this left-hand side, yes, it will show each stop that I'm going to be going to with the address of where I am headed to. So as far as like checking out this section, I would say it's pretty handy, especially in the case if you may be getting a multi-drop load. If that's the case, you definitely want to check it out before you commit to it, because I know a lot of people don't like to do like 4 washouts on one trip. So, definitely make sure you check that out. Okey-doke. All right, you'll also see it shows add stop right here, right where it shows stops, add stop. That would be in the case that I want to add an additional stop along my route here. So for instance, if I wanted to add a stop at a Love's Travel Center, I could type that in there, Love's. It'll pull up all these options. So if I want to tap Love's Travel Stop right there, it would find a Love's along my route that I could find as a stop there. I would just need to tap add stop to get that taken care of. Yeah, it would just route me through that area. Okay. Yes, there is this GPS on the right-hand side here. You can choose to use that if you'd like to. It is not our route, meaning like this isn't your paid route or anything. However, like if you don't have your own GPS, by all means, go ahead and use this thing. If you do have your own GPS, by all means, use that thing. It's no biggie. Yes, ma'am.
Is the routing on that truck friendly?
It is truck friendly. Yes, it does take
Okay.
into consideration truck routes.
Okay.
So yes.
Awesome.
You have a
That
question?
was my saying.
Hey, all right. We're on the same
I was
page.
even
here.
gonna say truck friendly.
Hey, can you show the weather? I want to see how it looks.
Yeah. So let's see here. If
Got
I
weather
scroll
on there,
down,
too.
you'll see it has this little toggle switch showing show weather. If I tap onto that, it will just show the weather on these locations. So it shows pretty much everywhere. It is hot. If you didn't know.
Does it show the weather on your course or just at the stops?
At the stops.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
So let's say if you know the show's about obviously, but let's say you find a better route that's structured that you can go. How many miles out of route can you go without? I mean, before you get your phone call like, hey, you out of route, and you try to tell them about another route that was safer and better for you. In other words, does this come to say, hey, you got to stick to the strict route, or you can go a little bit out, or what?
I don't think we're so strict that you have to take this route. Like I mentioned, this is an hour route. If you find like a better route that's going to get you there quicker or safer, by all means, go ahead and use it. You know, just whatever
Question.
works.
Are you company driver or lease?
Company?
Oh, okay, that's why, yeah, probably, yeah. I was just curious.
Okay. What's up?
So what were y'all send something for y'all route? Or you were previously saying something about, like JCT route and then this?
No. So this is an application that's in the application. All this is a route that's made between two stops, right? So it's not like we've programmed this thing in to go through this exact location. It's just the way the application finds the best route for you.
Okay, so you guys won't be sending a route?
No. This isn't. This
Just
isn't.
a fuel, I think they do a fuel,
They might do like a fuel stop, right?
Okay.
But yeah, like a suggested fuel stop.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like this isn't like a forced route. Yes, sir.
My last question.
Yes, sir.
All right, so for us truck stops, what truck stops y'all had out there, which ones we can't go to?
Which ones you can go to? I can't go to. Yeah, I really don't know as far as what that goes.
basically what he's asking for fuel. We utilize Pilot, Flying J, and Loves, and you also get points for them. If you ever need fuel outside of that, say your reefer fuel's running low, you just send a message and there's an override macro that, hey, and there's a fuel stop. That's not our normal route, and they'll give you permission and you can get that. But being also that you're company driver, they may not give you like the lease operators. They open up our car that we can go if we find a cheaper fuel and stuff. So they're probably going to be a little bit more stricter on you to follow the fuel route suggestion.
Oh, I just need to know which truck stops we can go to get the fuel.
Right. Loves, Pilot, and Flying J.
Perfect.
But in case you need fuel and you're not around that, you get an override, so they get you your fuel, so they don't want you to run out.
So in other words, like let's say if the only thing that's in my area is a TA, they can
Correct.
override it and give you like.
Yeah, you would have to
50
call them first or
Right.
macro and let you know. But usually they're real lenient on reefer fuel because if you need reefer fuel, they don't want to jeopardize that product. So,
Okay.
but as far as for your truck, then they might be, well, you didn't follow this, whatever. But you let them know. As far as us lease drivers, we can get fuel where we want.
It's not a part of the segment, is it?
Oh, it is now. It's all good. All right, so yes, on this left-hand side here, I've already committed to this load, so it's not going to look exactly like it will for you guys. However, if you look on page 5 of the handout, that top image there, it'll show you those two buttons that you can select between, commit and reject pre-plan load. Those are your macros 2 and 3. So as far as if your DM says, hey, have you sent in that macro 3, this is where you want to go for that. It's on the actual pre-plan page. So if you want to commit to that load, you would tap commit pre-plan load. If you want to reject it, you would tap reject pre-plan load. In the case of that, it would pull up another page where it would ask you for like the basic details of why you are committing or rejecting it. For the commit, you can see on that bottom image there, it will show stuff like, are you on time for your pickup? If not, what's your ETA? Is there any issue with having an on-time delivery? After you fill that out, you tap that arrow in the top right-hand corner of that page, and that would send that macro on out, and you would then be committed to that load.
What page was that on?
Page 5. All right. Okay, after you commit to it, back on the home page here now. Underneath this load section, instead of it showing that you're not currently dispatched on a load, it's going to show you information such as this, where it shows these buttons that you can tap into and submit. So for instance, here it shows send message, right up here on the left-hand side. If I tap that send message button, that's going to pull up, again, my list of macros. So I can get to that right from my front page by tapping that send message button. And there again, it's going to show free-form message at the bottom as well. So if I need to send one of those, I can get to that again from the front page of JCT Hub. Now to the right of send message is scan document. And this is another reason why I think the phone app is a good idea, because if you have your phone app, right, you can submit those pictures through your phone rather than having to take off that tablet on your mount, off and on again, on and off again. Yes. Okay, so scan document. If I tap into that, it's going to pull up this page here, where it shows at the top my load number that I've selected, which is great. That's the load that I'm going to be scanning for. You'll also see below that it's going to show document type. Now this document type section, it is very important that you select exactly what it is that you are scanning in. So if I'm going to scan in my bill of lading, I have to have bill of lading selected. If I'm going to scan in my lumper receipt, I have to have lumper receipt selected. And then same thing for trip sheet down here at the bottom. If I'm going to scan in my trip sheet, I got to have it selected. You don't want to scan in everything under bill of lading, because if I was to send that in, it wouldn't go to the right spot, and likely I wouldn't get paid for that load. So you do want to make sure you are specifying whatever it is that you are scanning in. Okay, so let's run through one real quick. I've got my load number selected. I want to start with my trip sheet. So after that, I just want to tap this next button in the top right-hand corner. And when I do that, it's going to pull up this camera here. There is a camera on the tablet. You can use that to scan in your documents if you want to. As far as taking a picture goes, all you got to do is touch the screen, and it will snap that photo for you. It'll give you this preview of the page first. And then after that, if you want to move on, you would tap next in the top right-hand corner. It will trim that page for you. If that's all right, you just got to tap next. And now finally here it's going to show this page where it shows the preview of the photo I've taken, as well as this add button at the bottom of the page. Now this add button shows add trip sheet, whereas I probably will not need to scan in multiple trip sheets for a load, right? However, if I had initially selected bill of lading, it would show add bill of lading down here, and that would be something that I would want to scan in multiples of. Okay? So if I'm done with my trip sheet though, and I want to move on to my bill of lading next, I would tap the send button at the top right-hand corner. And there it's going to ask me, do you want to scan another? And what it means by scan another is scan another document type. So if I'm done with my trip sheet, I want to move on to my bill of lading next, I have to tap this scan another button right over here. And that would pop me back to the other page. Now usually I do tap the scan another button, but apparently that actually sends it to our settlements department. They were kind of getting tired of me like scanning in pictures that weren't bills of ladings or trip sheets. I was sending them a lot of selfies and pictures of dogs and stuff. So they got kind of tired of that, so they told me to knock it off. But essentially, if I tap the scan another button, it would pop me back to this page, where I would just need to adjust this document type to show bill of lading, and continue on by tapping this next button. And again, it's going to pull up this camera where I would just snap the photo of my bill. Tap next. Tap next again. And then again, it's going to show this bill of lading, add bill of lading button at the bottom. I would just tap that, and that would pull back the camera. I would just want to continue on until I'm fully scanned in. Now if I'm totally scanned in, I don't want to scan anything else, I don't want to scan any other documents, I would tap the send button in the top right hand corner, and instead of hitting scan another, I would tap don't scan another. And at that point it would send all of those documents in for me. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
Let's say I had a lumper fee and they didn't give me a paper lumper fee, but they sent me an email and it went to my phone. How would I do that? Because I know if I don't send it, I ain't gonna get reimbursed.
Very good question. Yeah.
Right.
Great question. So yes, what he's mentioning, like lump receipts, sometimes they are sent through your phone. They'll send it directly to you. I know Capstone, for instance, does that quite a bit. With lump receipts, yes, what you would do is you get that image on your phone, you'd open it up, you could screenshot that thing. At that point, that would be saved to your gallery on your phone. Now, if you have this phone app, what you could do is upload that photo on this next page. If I've got the camera pulled up, you'll see at the bottom left-hand corner, it's got this upload button. And if I tap that, that will pull up my gallery, where I would just tap that screenshot of the lump receipt, and it would upload it for me. I would just tap next, next, and then send it. Everyone feel good about that one? All right. Everyone mumbling like, yeah, maybe.
So technically, you need the phone app then, because how would you send that to the tablet?
I suppose like you could take a picture of your phone screen with your tablet,
Oh, yeah.
but I mean, that probably wouldn't come through very clear.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, just whatever works best. You know, if for whatever reason they're requesting for you to do it one specific way, you would just do it that way. Yes,
Are
sir.
you able to access your phone gallery photos from the app or no?
Yeah, from your phone app, like this.
No, I'm like if you're in the tablet part,
Right.
you know, can you access it or is it not?
Yeah, so there are two different devices, right? Like my tablet can't access my phone's photos, right? I would have to upload it from my phone. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, so when I was doing some server, basically what I did was we had open roads. This reminds me of. So what I did was I had the open roads on my phone. See what I'm saying? So every time I got done with a trip or whatever, everything that you showing, I just did it from the phone to the picture.
Yeah.
Same way when you did a lump receipt, same thing. He said screenshot it. Yeah, you can do it all that. Now, if you're trying to do it with the tablet, you can just take an email. You send that through an email to yourself, and you can pull up the email on that tablet. But to me personally, it's just too much work.
Yeah.
You just simply just do it. Just have the app on the phone. Do it from there. You can still operate, you know, the tablet, but you can operate the phone for it's like sending it over. It was just easy for me to do that.
Yeah, whatever's easiest to you. Yeah, that's definitely one way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So after scan document, let's move on here. All right, so below this send message and scan document buttons, it's going to show pickup with the address that I'm going to. If you do want to use this GPS, what you would want to do is tap into this section right up here at the top where it shows the address, that pin for you, the little arrow up here. Anywhere on this top box, if you tap into that, it would get you there. Yeah, it'll pull up this GPS on the right-hand side with this route to stop button right down here. If I tap that route to stop button, it'll pull up this page, asking me if I'd like to have satellite view for my GPS, or if I want to avoid toll roads, or maybe adjust my truck properties. Although this, for the most part, I believe shouldn't change. This is all adjusted to the parameters that we have for our trucks. If that's all good, you just got to tap done down there at the bottom. It'll pull up that route for you. On that route, it's going to show if you have any way stations that you might be crossing. So you can kind of keep an eye out for that while you're out there on this route. You'll also see down here at the bottom, it's going to show my availability. So I can keep track of that as well while I'm out there on the road using this GPS. All you'd have to do to get started is tap this start button on the right-hand side. All right. So that's the GPS. Again, this little section right at the top. You'll see below that it shows Arrive as Shipper. This Arrive as Shipper button will automatically pop up whenever you are dispatched on this load. So yes, Arrive as Shipper is right there. If you tap into Arrive as Shipper, that is your macro for Arrive as Shipper, by the way. If you are needing to send that in, it should automatically pop up for you right here. So whenever you get there, you just tap Arrive at Shipper. It'll pop up this macro page, where at the top you can see it shows date and time. If I tap into that date box, it will autofill that date that I'm currently on, as well as the time. If I tap into that time box, it will just show a timestamp of the time I'm currently at. And tap OK. After I fill this thing out, I can just tap that arrow in the top right-hand corner, and that would send that Arrive at Shipper macro out. Now, after that, it's going to show in this place Depart Shipper. So Arrive at Shipper will disappear, and Depart Shipper will appear right there, essentially prompting you to fill out step-by-step those macros as you need to. So Depart Shipper will pop up. What that will look like is like this, where again you can get in here and update your date and time, maybe any comments that you need to do for the depart. Tap that arrow to send it on out. After you submit Depart Shipper, it will show Loaded Call right here. So Loaded Call will pop up, and it will look like this. Now, where Loaded Call is different is on this, at the bottom of this Loaded Call page, it will show Scan BOL, tap to scan documents, right at the bottom. And what they want there is that first page of your BOL, showing the temperature on it. So you would want to make sure you snap that photo of the temp, and then submit it. That's really all they want. They don't want all of your BOLs, or all the pages of your BOL. They just want that first one showing the temperature on it so we can verify that temp. All right. After that, it should allow you to submit the loaded call. And at that point, this loaded call button will disappear. This pickup section would then show drop on it, and it would show the drop address that you've got to submit or go to. On your drop, it will also show the macros that you need to submit for your drop. So really, it will just show you one at a time what macros you need to submit. It's really easy, really step by step, as far as how you can go from pickup to drop. So yes, it will show the drop macros such as arrive at stop, arrive at consignee, empty call. It will show you each of those on this page right here as you go through them and submit them. After you submit your empty call or your drop, this whole section would again go back to showing that you're not currently dispatched on a load. So just start to finish, it's really all right here. You don't really need to look anywhere else except for this section right over here. Any questions about that? Yes, sir.
In the tablet, show red, green for the way station and stuff.
Oh yes, you mean like
Drive-Wyze.
like pre-pass and Drive-Wyze? Yeah, there is Drive-Wyze in the tablet. We'll go over how you log in that and what it can do for you. Literally just the very, very end. So when you hear me say Drive-Wyze, you know, everyone get a little excited because we're almost going to be over with the class. All right. So to the right of Arrive at Shipper, it's going to show directions. With directions, that is your request directions macro. That isn't where the GPS is. What I would typically say in this section is things about like what you can expect at these stops. So for instance, I had one previously that showed it was like an arrive at Migo Bustamante Park. And there it said something like, do not park on the side of the street, will get $300 ticket, do not arrive early, that kind of stuff. So it's worth reading, I think, just to keep yourself updated on what you can expect at this location. It might even have details about like what truck stops are nearby, maybe what motels are nearby, so it's worth checking out. All right. Now, it also shows OS&D. This is your OS&D report. This will always be here for either your pickup or your drop. So if you ever have any overage, shortage, or damaged goods, you want to make sure you tap into that and submit that form. All right. Next up, I want to talk about this More section in the bottom right-hand corner. If I tap into that, it'll pull out this left-handed side bar where it shows things such as accident. This is my accident form. If at any point I get in an accident, this is the only spot for it in the tablet that I can submit that form. First, again, tap that More section, and then get into that accident form where I will have you submit details and photos about the accident and of the accident. Now below accident, it's going to show detention. This would be for your detention form. Now detention is still paid automatically. Nothing changes there. However, if for whatever reason we're needing you to submit a detention form, just maybe proving that you're still there, this is where you want to go for that, right there in detention. Below that is OS&D report. That is, again, your OS&D report for any overage, shortage, or damaged goods. The difference between this one and the one that's on the front page underneath your load is this one does not allow you to submit photos, whereas the one in the more section does. It's got this little camera icon right by it. That would allow you to submit photos of any of those problems that you've got on that load. Okay? It also shows document list right below OS&D report. If I tap into that, it's going to show the last documents that I've submitted within the last 30 days. So in here I can see, if I tap on any of these options, that document that I've submitted, the confirmation number showing that I have in fact sent that, also the load number that I sent it for, and the delivery date and time right below it. I can check out that picture below. All right. And finally on this list, it shows log out right at the bottom. Where a log out is handy is there's a couple different reasons why it's handy. The first is if there's any bugs in the system. Like if the system is not operating properly. Like for instance, if we're trying to send you a message and you're not getting it, or you're trying to send a message and we're not getting it, or maybe we've sent you a pre-plan but it's not coming through on your end, anything like that, I would suggest giving it a good old log out and log back in. If you do that, that should fix about 85% of those types of issues. Just a good old reboot, that's all it needs. Another reason why logout is important is because of the way we've got Geo-Tab and JCT Hub set up. So JCT Hub, that's this app of course, is your home for everything pretty much. It also houses your hours of service over here on the right hand side. Now your hours of service, that is Geo-Tab. It's a whole other application. We've got it set up in a way that you don't have to log into Geo-Tab at any point. In fact, if you try to log in straight to Geo-Tab, it will not work. If you try to log into this page here, it will not work. You can put in your driver code, you can put in the last four of your social for the password. If you try to put it in there, it will not work because we don't have you set up that way. In fact, if you do it too many times, it will straight up lock you out of your account. So you want to avoid it at all costs.
Will it lock you out the that app too?
No, it won't lock you out of this one, but it essentially will show on this side that you do not have access to your hours. That's pretty easy to fix. We would just have to unlock you. The main thing is just making sure you catch yourself before you actually lock yourself out. Now, how you can do that is one, it's going to show you on this login page for Geo-Tab the G at the top of the screen. This G right here indicates, of course, that it's Geo-Tab. G, of course, does not stand for Go. It stands for Geo-Tab. Again, if you try to log in here, it's going to lock you out. Another thing is, if you try to plug in your driver code and your password, it will not work. Now, we all know each other's, well, not each other's, but we all know our personal driver code. We also know the last four of our social. If we plug that in and it isn't working, likely we're in the wrong spot, you know? So the proper procedure is not to keep on logging into it as if something's going to change. The proper procedure is to get out of it by tapping the circle at the bottom of the page, getting back into JCT Hub, and tapping this box over here underneath hours of service, where it shows you driver code, your availability, and this arrow to the right of it. The way I like to describe it is as if it's a house, right? JCT Hub, this is the house, whereas your hours of service, or Geo-Tab, is the kitchen. You got to go through the house first before you can get to the kitchen. You got to log into JCT Hub first before you can get to Geo-Tab. You don't want to just log in straight to Geo-Tab, because that's essentially like jump through the window to get to the kitchen. You don't want to do that, you get glass in your face. And that's not happy, that's not a happy time for anybody. You know. All right, so as far as Geo-Tab goes, again, we're just going to tap this box right over here to the right-hand side and get it right in there.
So we're not gonna really use that Geo-Tab.
Oh, you will, for your hours, yeah. For like for pre-trips, for editing your logs, for changing your duty status, all that stuff is in Geo-Tab. PC, all that, yeah. Yes, sir.
How often should you reset it and stuff or log out? If I heard, like if you don't log out, it might kick you out or something like that?
Yeah, good question. Yes, so in Geo-Tab, the way it is set up on their side is you have to essentially log out before 14 days is up of you continually being logged into the system. If you're logged into Geo-Tab for 14 days straight, Geo-Tab itself will essentially grab you by the shirt and yank you out of the truck. It will log you out, yeah, straight up. So that can happen while you're driving, while your co-driver is driving, while you're in PC. Any of those times it can log you out if you're logged in for 14 days straight. So what you want to do is pretty much preempt that. Don't let that happen by logging out before that 14-day period is out. What I would suggest is like logging out every week. Like maybe like every Monday at 3 p.m., I set an alarm that will let me know, okay, now I'm going to log out and log right back in. You don't have to be logged out by the second and log right back in, and that's all you need to do. Okay. All right, so yes, this is Geo-Tab right here. I'm initially getting logged in. Up at the top, it's going to have me select my vehicle in this name, VIN, or serial number box right here. What they want really right there is your truck number. So you would just plug in your truck number right there where it shows name, VIN, or serial number. So I'm going to put in my truck name, which is Tracy Ross, our lovely hours of service lady in the room to our left over here. I'm going to tap that little bubble by the name, and it's going to get me attached to it. All right, so here it's going to show at the very top my truck name. That's correct. No changes need to be made there. It'll show my trailer name below that, showing test. That is my test trailer. Let's say if I log in, and in between me having this, me getting logged out and me logging back in, my trailer was removed. I would want to personally remove that trailer myself by tapping this X button to the right. The trailer does not or automatically change based on JCT Hub. If I do like a macro 13 with drop loaded trailer request, it's not going to drop this trailer. I have to manually do that myself, as well as add another trailer if I need to by tapping that plus sign. There's another spot for that. I'll show you that a little bit later. Now below that it shows shipments. Here it's going to show my load number right below it. Now this is automatically pulled straight from JCT Hub whenever I've committed to that load. So I don't need to change that whatsoever. It will automatically update for me. If this is all good, I'm just going to tap Save and Continue right there at the bottom. Now, here it's going to show Claim Unassigned Logs. Here it's going to show a list of logs that were driven while I was not logged into the system. So if it is my time, what I want to do is tap on these logs here and then scroll to the bottom and assign those logs to me. I would tap Assign to Me. But if this is like unassigned drive time, like shop movement, what I want to do is instead just tap Skip. I don't have to reject each single one of these logs. All I got to do is skip it by tapping Skip. And now finally here it's asking me if I want to do a pre-trip inspection or do an inspection at all. I don't want to do that quite yet, so I'm just going to tap Skip Remainder here at the bottom. All right, so first it's going to put me into my hours of service page where it shows on the right-hand side the 4 statuses that I can get into. And then on the left-hand side here it's going to show my availability, how my time's looking, how many hours I've got remaining, all of that. Where I really want to start though is on this dashboard section in the bottom left-hand corner with a little house on it. Okay, so yes, this is the dashboard for Geo-Tab. Specifically what I'm looking for is this asset inspection box in the top right-hand corner with the clipboard and a check mark, right? As far as doing my pre-trip goes, this is where I want to start, in asset inspection right there. So I'm going to tap into that box. And here it's going to show I've got both my truck and my trailer that I need to complete inspections on. As far as starting those inspections goes, all I got to do is tap this inspect button up at the top. And there it's going to show this page here where I can submit a new inspection. All I got to do is tap whichever type of inspection I'm doing. So pre-trip, of course, that's going to be how I start my day. Post-trip is going to be how I end my day. In-trip inspection is anywhere in between pre-trip and post-trip. So for instance, I know a lot of people use it if they're going to do like a drop and hook, or if they're going to do a swap with trailers. That's what an in-trip inspection would be used for. Although, however, I really don't care what type of inspection you choose for that situation, as long as you actually submit the inspection. That is the main part of all of this really, is like your pre-trip, your post-trip, that will last however long it lasts. We'd like, a thorough inspection, of course, so it takes however long it takes to do that inspection. The main thing is making sure that we get these submitted. That shows a record that you've completed it, and in the case of like your trailers, for instance, if you don't do an inspection on them, and you get stopped by an officer, they're going to see you haven't done an inspection on your trailer, and that can look pretty bad. So really, again, the main thing is making sure that we submit these inspections. So, okay, I'm going to continue on here with my pre-trip. Below that part is going to show my defect list. This list is based off of items that are most commonly defective on trucks and trailers. So as far as this list here, I do want to make sure I'm checking through it each day. And let's say I find something is wrong, right? I'm looking through on my truck, and I notice on my tires that I've got some insufficient tread. I've got low tread depth on that tire. What I want to do is add a defect to it. Now, it's also a really good idea to also put in that macro 18 for that defect, just to let breakdown know that you got a little breakdown, you can't move on any further. However, if you also want to submit it through here, I think it's a good idea. One, because if you tap Add Defect, it will show this camera right at the bottom. And there you can snap photos of whatever damage you're seeing and submit that to the breakdown department, in which case they can better kind of assess how we can go about getting you back up and running as soon as possible. Okay? Now at the bottom here, it's going to show no major or minor defects found. If I don't have anything wrong with my truck or my trailer, that's the button I want to push and submit. You'll also see right above this green button it shows Add a Remark. In that section I know some people like to put in, oh my lord. On that section I know a lot of people would like to submit or put in something like they're fueling while they're pre-trip. I know some people like to do that to kill two birds with one stone. It's totally fine. You just want to make sure you put in that you're fueling right there so you at least have a note showing what you're doing. So I would just put in something like this. And then tap No Major or Minor Defects Found to submit that pre-trip. After I tap that green button, it's going to show Sign Asset Inspection, showing that I've got to agree that this truck is in good shape and it is good to go. I would just tap Yes to submit it. Now you'll notice whenever I do that, it shows at the top of the screen that you have been placed on duty. So it automatically swaps you from off duty to on duty whenever you submit that inspection. The way we've got it working is if I tap this inspect button, essentially a timer will start. And it will start counting how long I've been on this page. So if I've been on this page for 15 minutes or so, it's going to have those seconds counting right here up to 15 minutes or longer, if you need to do a longer inspection. And whenever I submit it, it will backdate that time to show as on duty. It will show all of that time as on duty after I submit it. Showing, that's how long my pre-trip lasted.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So basically, we're gonna be doing like, when you do our future, we're gonna be doing UBI all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my question to that one. Do we have to take pictures of like the tractor and trailer at all times, or just only like if they have a defect?
Yeah, it would just only be if there's something wrong. You don't have to do it every day.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
So no pictures?
No pictures needed every
And it
day.
doesn't really matter how long you do a pre-trip?
It would, of course it matters. Like, you want to make sure it's accurately tracking how long you've been doing it.
No, I'm saying anything over like 15 to 20 to 30 minutes
What's that?
for a pre-trip. Not
Right.
post-trip, but a pre-trip.
Right, it lasts however long it lasts. That's the way we look at it. Like,
Right. As long
if
as
you,
it's not 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like, if it's
Yeah.
like 20 minutes, 15, 20, 30 minutes, that's kind of like, okay.
yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, 'cause we're not going to get onto you doing a 30-minute inspection. We're not going to be like, what the hell are you doing out there? 30 minutes? Are you crazy? You're checking it too hard. No, we would never do that.
So some companies have a restriction.
Yeah.
They have like, restriction, okay, it's gonna take you 45 minutes to do a pre-trip. You get out there and do it in 15 minutes, now we wanna know what's wrong.
I guess, like, yeah.
45 minutes.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I guess if like you're being like really, really specific about it, like you're checking each lug nut, making sure that thing's like tight enough. I mean, that might be a little overboard. But again, if you feel like that's necessary for you to feel safe out there on the road, I support it.
So the company doesn't have a policy on how long it should take us to do it, that's what I was saying.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
What I used to do is I would hit the on duty and then do the report. Sometimes can you probably do the pre-trip and then enter the information in? This way you don't forget
Yeah.
that clock is running.
So yeah, that's a great question. So if I want to do it another way, I could tap this on duty button over here to start doing my inspection. And then go around and do both my truck and trailer inspection, totally fine. And then after I'm completed, go back to asset inspection and submit those inspections that way. You don't have to necessarily stay on that page for 15 minutes. If you just want to go on duty first and then go in and submit those inspections, totally fine. Again, we just want an accurate picture of how long the pre-trip or post-trip has lasted. And make sure that these are submitted. Those are the main things we're worried about. Yep. Okay, good question. All right. Okay, so yes, you can see here on the dashboard, it shows underneath my hours of service, I am in on-duty status. If I want to change that, I got to tap into this box right here. Now when I do that, it's going to show these 4 boxes. These are my statuses that I can choose between. If I want to switch it from on to off-duty, all I got to do is tap that off-duty button, and it will change that status for me. Just like that. You'll also notice whenever I tap any of these statuses, it will bring up this black box at the bottom where it shows the status that I'm in and also that I can annotate that log. Where that comes in handy is in the case of maybe doing some fuel time or really anything that you might need to note that you're doing. So for instance, fuel time is on duty time, and I also need to note that that is what I'm doing. I am fueling. So I got to tap this on duty button. This black box will pop up at the bottom, and I just want to tap inside this annotate button to put in my note that I am in fact fueling. And then hit save here at the bottom. I will save that note, and I would just want to stay in on duty for as long as I am fueling. Okay. Now you will notice on the left-hand side, that is my availability. As far as what this shows, it'll show here at the bottom my 70 or my cycle, my 14 or my workday, my 11 or my drive time, my 8-hour or my 30-minute break. And above that, it's going to show this little coffee cup with a check mark to the right of it showing the driving break. This is for my 30-minute break. So if it shows a check mark here, that indicates that I have completed that 30-minute break and I am ready to start driving again. So if it only shows 28 minutes right here, I might want to wait for another 2 minutes to get that check mark and be okay to start driving again. Now above that it shows rest duration right up here with 0 minutes to the right of it. This rest duration is just going to be how long I've been in both off-duty and sleeper berth consecutively. So if I show up here 33 hours, I might want to wait that extra hour to get that full reset on my clock.
Question, does it stay in split?
Yes, it does. It's automatically on here. Yes, so on the Qualcomm, for instance, it showed a button that you had to select to turn on that split. However, here it's automatically on for you, so you don't need to tap any button there. If there's anybody that would like that split turned off, I can do that for you. I would just kind of need to know. Anybody not want to use it ever? Show of hands. Everyone wants to use it?
It's beneficial just so that.
It's like your 8-2 split, 7-3 split. If you're like,
If you park up for like 2 hours, 3 hours, that time comes back. You have that time to run it out.
yeah. So
But it don't stop after that.
yeah. What's that? Okay.
I
Yes,
got a
sir.
question.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm going on home time and where I got the truck parked, I just want to take the tablet out and stuff. But then I'm in my car with my phone and stuff and I'm driving. Is it gonna think I'm driving and throw me on duty driving or something like that?
No, it's not going to do that. No, no, it's not. I swear.
Okay, then let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let's say a truck is in a shop, which it is.
Yeah.
And I happen to have my tablet and my phone and stuff, so I'm not in the truck. But then the mechanic's gotta move the truck and stuff. Since I got the equipment here, is it gonna put me on drive and stuff? Or how do I prevent that from happening?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what he's asking is like if I have like my tablet in my hand and I go for like a jog, is it going to detect that I'm running or that I'm actually driving? No, it will not with that tablet in your hand. It's all based on the wheels of the truck. So if my truck is moving and I am logged into my truck on Geo-Tab, it will detect that movement. It will detect that I am in fact driving, even though I might not be. Yes, sir.
If you're off duty,
Yes.
and say you're driving, and how many miles per hour would it take before you get the kickback on duty?
It's a very good question. Yeah, if I go over 5, that will put me into drive.
Yeah.
However, you know, this system, like any other, is not like accurate to the second or to like the speed. Like you got to make sure that you're being careful with that. You're not pushing it. Like for instance, if I'm going over 4, it might switch me over to drive still. So you got to be very, very careful with that.
How do you sign out?
I'll go over that here in a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about your personal convenience? How long do you guys get your personal convenience?
So I'll go over that here in just a second. It's almost what I'm about to go over. Okay, so yes, I do want to talk about the split just real quick. The way it's kind of different from other systems as far as Geo-Tab goes. Yes, so let's say I'm driving to my shipper, right? I'm driving to go get loaded up. If I drive there and I'm stopped at my shipper for 2+ hours, if I'm in off-duty or sleeper berth for that 2+ hours amount of time, it will take that 2+ hours amount of time and add it back to my 14-hour clock, essentially extending my day, showing that I've got more hours to work. So if I want to, I can run that time out after I get loaded up. I can go my whole 14, all of that. That'd be perfectly fine. The thing is, after I complete my post-trip inspection, if I go into off-duty for the rest of the night, it will take back that extended amount of time. It will take back that 2+ hours amount of time from me. So in that case, it could show that I've gone over my 14-hour limit and show that I'm in violation. So to avoid that, what I got to do is make sure I go into sleeper berth whenever I'm in that bunk. If I do that, that extended amount of time for that 2+ hours will stick to my 14, and it won't show that I'm in violation. But you have to remember it's sleeper berth. You got to use sleeper berth for that 8+ hours amount of time or 7+ hours amount of time, and not off duty.
Say if I leave in an off duty overnight
forget about it, can I annotate it back to sleeping bird?
Yeah, you can edit your time after the fact, if you want to, perfectly fine. It's just about remembering it. You might not catch it right away. But we're also looking here, and we'll try to catch that as well. And if that's the case, we can work together, get that figured out. Yes, sir?
So even if you're doing a 34, you gotta be in sleeping bird?
No. Only specifically with the split.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Totally fine if you want to do off-duty for that 34. Yeah.
I heard the buttons are like real sensitive, and if you go on Drive or something, can you edit it if you
Yeah.
put it yourself?
So if, like, for whatever reason you accidentally tap Drive right here and it logs that log for you, you can edit that time because that is a manual log. What I just tapped there, it wasn't actually my wheels moving or anything. It was me selecting Drive. Since that is manual, I can change that. However, if my tires are actually moving and I'm actually driving down the road, I can't edit that time.
Yeah, I know. What about PC too? Can you
PC
edit
and
that?
yard move also cannot be edited.
You can't?
So I can't edit that PC or yard move. Yeah. Speaking of PC and yard move, what a segue. I've got these two buttons down here below my availability. They show recap and exemptions. So exemptions down here in the bottom right hand corner, if I tap into that, that is where it's going to show personal conveyance and yard move. Just one more time showing you where it's at. You see this availability up here showing all my hours. These blue buttons will be at the bottom showing view exemption and recap. Under exemptions, that's where my PC and yard move is at. So, as far as personal conveyance goes, all I got to do to get started is tap this start button. Now, that does not actually start my PC. It merely puts up a page or pulls up a page where I need to put in this note here showing why I am going to use personal conveyance. What is my reasoning? What I like to call this is your alibi. This is your alibi for why you're using personal conveyance. Now, we all know personal conveyance is like this gray area where, like, you know, depending on who's looking at it, it could be seen that you're using it incorrectly or illegally. That's why we got to make sure we're using it as proper and as reasonable as possible, and also putting in a good note showing exactly what we're doing there. Sometimes I'll receive a note that looks like this. It shows personal. Now, I know whenever you're using personal conveyance, that is going to be a personal thing that you're using personal conveyance for, because again, it's called personal conveyance. So really, you're not helping me at all. I know it's personal conveyance. It's literally 50% of the words here. It's personal. So again, not a very good note. Another one that comes through quite often that is kind of garbage is move. Move. I understand you're moving. It's called PC. I understand there's going to be drive time involved with the PC. So move doesn't tell me anything. I don't know if that's personal. I don't know if you're moving towards your location. In fact, a note so vague might cause somebody to look more into why you're using that PC there, especially if it's a very large amount of time. Same thing for like park. I mean, if I use the annotation park and I'm driving an hour, like what, it took you an hour to find a parking spot? You know what I mean? So like just make sure you're putting in a good note. So for instance, I would say what we're looking for specifically in this section is verb, noun. If you can put a verb in there and a noun in there, that's a pretty good note. So for instance, how does everyone feel about eating at McDonald's? Everyone like McDonald's? No one likes McDonald's anymore. The McDonald's had the 90s in a chokehold, and then after that, everyone hated it. So we gotta go Wendy's, there we go. Wendy's.
That's even worse.
That's not worse. Wendy's is fresh, right? What's there?
How about Panda Express or something?
Panda Express. All right, we're gonna go to
we're
Panda
gonna use
Express.
it for, because you can't get Panda Express in most truck stops.
All right,
so
we're
that's
being a little. All right, here we
Think
go.
about it.
Wimpy's Burgers.
Wendy's, we'll go here. We'll go. How about we're gonna go Outback Steakhouse. We're gonna splurge today.
Old man body.
You didn't know.
Hard Rock.
There we go.
All right, so I'm eating at Outback Steakhouse. I'm gonna drive there. I'm gonna tap apply.
To the bar.
To the bar.
That's what an Uber's for.
That's right. That's right.
That's just,
So, okay, I've got exemption applied here. It shows personal conveyance at the bottom with a stop button to the right of it. As far as the stop button goes, at any point that I'm using PC, I can stop using it by tapping stop.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're in PC and you say, okay, I just dropped my load, I'm PCing home, but I stopped to get a drink, and I turn my truck off, does that shut down PC and you have to redo it again?
It's a great question.
Or does it just continue on until you hit stop? Because the last one I was with, Samsara, if the truck shut off, it completely kicked you out of PC.
Same thing.
And it screwed with you if you didn't think to check it.
Yes.
You'd go on driving and foobar your whole, everything that was going on.
Yes, same thing, really. Like if you turn your truck off, you cycle that engine, it's going to turn that PC off. It'll turn it off for you. Now, ways you can catch yourself on that is these status buttons. You see, I'm under PC right now, and it shows these buttons are grayed out, meaning I cannot select between the four of them. This is because, of course, that I'm in PC. What I would suggest is using this as a way to double check before you start moving. For instance, if it shows that I can select between the four, that means I'm not under PC. That means it has been turned off. So double check yourself. Always make sure you check this before you move. If it still shows you can select between these four statuses, get down here and turn that PC back on.
What happens if you're on yard move and you shut the truck off? What
Same thing. It will.
Does it put you on duty and keeps you on it?
Yeah. So if I'm in yard move, right? If I'm going to be in yard move, and we'll just say that we're loading for these yard move. For one, yard move, of course, is on duty time. If I'm going to start my yard move, I'm essentially going to be starting my 14-hour clock. It will interrupt whatever break that I'm currently in. So if I'm using yard move, that's on duty time right there. It's cutting into my 14. As far as stopping yard move, I can either turn my truck off or tap that stop button.
Would it put me on off duty or?
It'll put you into on duty. So it'll still have you on duty. What you would want to do is tap that off duty button after you're done there so it won't continue cutting into your clock.
So if you shut the truck off and you're on yard move and you're just going, bathroom or whatever, it'll stay on duty?
Yeah,
so you gotta physically?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
When we're the shipper or drop, can we move around their facilities in yard duty?
Yeah, you can use yard move for that, yeah. PC would not be a good option because essentially you're at a spot where you're working. So, yes, sir.
Double question.
Yeah.
What speed does it trigger to drive time with the yard movement? And
Not a dumb question, great question.
I said double question.
Double question. I assumed it was done. Sorry, I'm kidding.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it's 20 miles per hour.
Understood.
Go over 20 in yard move, it's going to flip you on over to drive.
And second question, let me see if I remember. Oh yeah, PC, how long do you have?
Sorry, that was also a very good question. There is no limit on the PC. So that is not, it's not an invitation to hell yeah! Let's go! 3,000 miles here to LA, one day. Yeah, you just, of course, we're going to be looking at all this stuff as well. You don't want to use too much of it because, of course, that's going to come across looking pretty bad. Just 1 second. So yes, there's no limit. The reason for that is so we can allow you guys to get home, right? Sometimes you need more than 150 miles or 2 hours to get home. That's what that no limit is about. Yes, sir.
You almost answered my question. I don't have a car when I get home.
Yeah.
I use my truck for transportation.
Sure.
But, I won't be gone for like 2 or 3 hours, but that probably is my next question for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just need to put in a note showing home time, maybe like where you're going. That's it. Yes, sir.
Can y'all disable it with music?
Yes. Yes, we can, and we will. So yeah, just be careful. Yes, sir.
If you're in a truck stop and you're moving the truck, what is that 5 mile per hour thing?
Yeah, if you go over 5, it will throw you into drive. So creeping around, you want to make sure you're careful with it. You don't want to accidentally put yourself into drive because that's time we cannot edit.
Because that's the automatic you said.
Right, automatically. Another thing to consider is if I am driving, right, if I'm in drive time and I set my brakes or I park my truck, it will automatically move me from drive to on duty. It will move me from drive straight to on duty. So I want to make sure if I'm setting my brakes after driving that I'm checking the status out and again, moving myself to off duty if I'm no longer working. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Yes, sir.
So if you, take your dinner, a trip, and it takes over 2 hours, would you go off duty?
Yeah, you could be an off duty, or if you're in your bunk, you would just hit sleep first, whichever one, accurately, tells us what you're actually doing. Yes, sir.
Can we get with you tomorrow once these are on, just to
Yeah, I'll be
go
doing
through
a
a couple
class.
things real quick?
Yeah, it's a good point. So yes, I'll be doing a class tomorrow at 11 and 3. So if you want to come along and keep up with the.
I'm in here or another?
And so we would actually probably meet over in the break room at 11 or 3, and I would take you upstairs. Yeah. Okie doke. All right, so yes, that is the status section for our hours of service. Next up, we want to go into logs over here on the right-hand side. Okie doke. Okay, so underneath logs, it's going to show my charts, right? My graph, showing where I've been spending my time for the day. You'll also see up here at the top, it's got my date. As far as swapping between days, I can tap this little back arrow to go back, or I can just tap the date here, in which case it'll show that you've got up to 15 days in the past that you can look at. All right, on this page is where I can verify my logs. Now I will mention, this is the only spot while you're logged into Geo-Tab that will allow you to verify your days. So you want to make sure you're doing it daily. This is the spot for it, right above your driver chart, showing verify. You just want to tap that verify button, and then tap agree, certifying those logs are true and correct. Okay.
Do you have to verify before you annotate?
No, you can verify before or after you edit those logs. So yeah. As far as maybe asking us to edit your logs though, you have to verify before we can do that. So if like for instance you leave yourself on overnight or you can't figure something out about your logs, how to change it, make sure you verify if you're going to call us and ask us to edit. So, because otherwise we're going to ask you anyways to verify. So might as well get it taken care of. Yes, as far as editing your logs goes, there's 2 ways you can go about it. One way would be below this chart here. If I scroll down, it's going to show each log that I've logged for today. On these logs, it will show the status, the date and time, the address that I was at, and also how long I've been in that status. So for instance, here at the top is my most recent log for off-duty. It shows I've been in off-duty for 2 minutes. That's what that 2 stands for, not 2 seconds. As far as editing time goes, if I want to edit this on-duty log into off-duty, what I would do is tap into it. When I do that, it's going to bring the details up about that log, including what status I was in, who I am, the date, the time, where I was at, what trailer I've got on, so on and so forth. It also shows if it was a manual or automatic log. So yes, this on-duty time, I want to change it to off-duty. I would do that by tapping this pencil here beside that on-duty status and changing that into off-duty status by tapping off. Now after that, I have to scroll down and put in my reasoning for editing that log. So there I might put in something like mistake or correction or forgot to change duty status, whatever works for you. And then tap save. And there we'll show that now that log has been changed to off duty and it's got my annotation underneath it. The other way to edit your logs is in the case of needing to split your time. So say I've got a long period of off-duty time. So right here it shows I was off-duty from 12 a.m. to like 6:40. If I wanted to edit the time after 6 a.m. into sleeper berth, I would have to add a log. I would have to tap this add log button to split this off-duty log to show some of it in sleeper berth. So what I want to do again is add a sleeper berth log for 6 a.m. So first, I got to tap this add log button. We'll pull up this page where it will show it pulls up off-duty as the default log to add. I want to change that by tapping that pencil and selecting sleeper berth instead. And now I also want to change this time. It shows date here, but it also shows time here. If I want to change that time for today, I would tap that pencil. I don't want to change the date from today, but I do want to change that time to, what time did I say?
4 a.m.
I think I said 6 a.m. All right, so 6 a.m. I'm going to tap done. The vehicle I don't need to change at all. That's still my vehicle. I will have to put in a note showing that maybe I just forgot to change duty status. And then tap this add button right here. Okay, and there I can see after 6 a.m. it changed that off-duty status from off into sleeper berth. So that would just be used in the case of needing to split my time, that add log button. Then of course after you edit your logs, make sure you verify them as well. Okay, so there's also the case of this yellow box at the top of the page here. It shows you have logs that require action. If at any point it shows that you've got something in here, it's something that you want to make sure you take care of. So as far as for me, it shows missing location. What that is caused by usually is bad service or my vehicle being disconnected from me, the driver. So if I see missing location, I want to tap in there, and there will show I've got several missing locations. Now you may have noticed here at JCT, the service is terrible. So I get a lot of these. Other things that it might show in that yellow box is unverified logs. It might show that you have logs from days that have not been verified yet. That's fine. You want to make sure you update that every day. If it does show you this yellow box, you just tap into it and hit that verify button to the right-hand side to take care of that day. You just want to do that until that yellow box disappears. The other thing that it might show in there is if we in the office have requested any edits for you. So like for instance, if I've edited some of your time into off-duty from on-duty, or from off-duty to on-duty, anything like that, you would have to accept that time. It would show requested edits in this page. You would just tap on that, tap on the day that we requested for, and there, instead of showing verify, it would show accept and verify. After you tap that and accept it, it would change that time for you. Okay. Another thing it will show you is in the top right-hand corner of the screen here. It shows this red box with a triangle in the middle of it. There it's going to show you a few different things that could be going on there. So for instance, it might show you something like power disconnected. Why it's telling you that is because, of course, I'm not getting any power to my tablet. My tablet is dying, so it's telling me, hey, make sure that you start powering up your tablet. GPS disconnected is specifically a service issue. If I see GPS disconnected there, it means that my exact location is not being exactly recorded. Now that is not an entirely big deal. Usually that just means I need to get to a better location. So if you see that, it's not worth necessarily shutting down for. It's at least worth maybe checking in with us to see if we can see where you're at. Typically, like 80%, 90% of the time we can. Geo-Tab Drive. It shows it's connected for me, but if that ever shows Geo-Tab Drive disconnected, that means that essentially you're invisible to us. We cannot see you. We can't get your logs from you. Nothing like that. It means there's a serious issue with your ECM port, probably. So if it ever shows that, make sure you do give us a call. We'll probably have to get you back in to maybe replace that device.
Is that when you have to go to paper logs, or what would indicate that?
So in the case of that, it's probably a paper log situation. That's probably the only paper log situation though. If truly we cannot get any access to your logs or your location, that would be a paper log situation. You have to make sure that you reach out to us if that's the case, so we can get you the proper documentation to show that it's okay to use paper logs. Okay, vehicle disconnected up at the top. That would be another kind of service issue. However, if you do see that, that's always worth giving us a call and checking to see if we can see where you're at and if your logs are still updated. Just check that out if it is showing. Most of the time, it's not going to be something that shuts you down. However, there are some cases where it is a thing where we just straight up can't see where you're at. And that is something that we want to make sure we get repaired right away. Okay, I'm going to move back to the dashboard here. We've got 4 more things to go over, and then we're going to be done.
Do y'all give a logbook, or do we have to get our own?
You should receive a logbook whenever you're going to split. They should give you one. Yes.
This is far left, but do these have hotspots?
No hotspots. No. Yeah.
One question, this is probably an oddball question, but I have my own hotspot. Let's say the tablet is not working right. Could I feed my hotspot to the tablet so then maybe you do have a connection? Does it allow you to do that or not? I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's got Wi-Fi capabilities in here, so you.
So it could log on to my Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know if that was locked out or something.
No, that's totally fine. Totally fine.
I do got unlimited.
All right, so next thing I want to talk about is swapping your trailer out. Like I mentioned earlier, you do have to manually do that. Where you want to look for that is on this main dashboard page. If I look down a little bit, it's going to show me this truck icon with my truck name and maybe even my trailer name right below it. So as far as changing out my trailer, this is where I want to tap into. Here it's going to show my trailer name right here. As far as needing to detach from that trailer, all I got to do is tap that X to the right of that trailer name. When I do that, it's going to tell me you are about to detach the trailer name. Would you like to do an inspection? Now, what I usually say here is that our trailers account for about 80% of our maintenance violations. So as far as our trailers go, you want to make sure you are checking them. As far as what is more likely to get a violation, your truck or your trailer, by the numbers, it's your trailer by a large amount. So you want to make sure you're giving that trailer that amount of attention. Keep in mind, it's more likely that trailer is going to get a violation than you, so give it a solid inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and do an inspection before I continue here. And I submit that inspection after I've completed it. There it will show that now I have no trailer attached. As far as adding another trailer, I'm just going to tap that plus sign over where it shows trailers. Here it'll show I need to find my trailer. All I got to do is type in that trailer number right there. It'll show that trailer number with that bubble right to the left of it. All I got to do is tap into that bubble. And again, it will prompt me to do a new inspection on that trailer that I'm adding. What you can use this page for right here, where it shows previous inspection, it'll show expand previous inspection right below it. What you can check in there is the last inspection that was completed on that trailer. Where that comes in handy is if, for instance, you come to that trailer, you see it's in terrible shape, right? Someone who checked it previously obviously did not do a good enough job of inspecting it because it's in rough shape. What you can see here, it will show the last person that inspected it, when it was inspected, and what they found on it. So that's just that's there to keep everybody just a little bit more accountable. If you are inspecting these things, make sure you're aware that other people can see that, other drivers can see that. So Make sure we're looking out for each other and submitting good inspections each day. When I submit that inspection, it's going to add that new trailer to me. Right there, looking good. All right. After that, I want to tap this little back arrow to get back to the dashboard. All right, 3 things left. First thing is roadside check. Right down here in the bottom left-hand corner. This is where I would want to go if I was to get inspected by an officer. If I tap into that roadside check box, it's going to show me this page here, where I would need to put in a 4-digit PIN. What it wants right there is a one-time passcode that you would plug in. It's whatever number you want. We don't give you that number. You would just put in whatever number you wanted. You plug that number in, hit set PIN, and then confirm it one time. It will essentially lock up this screen, this inspection screen. So as far as the officer may be handling the tablet, if they're trying to maybe get a little too curious and venture into spots and see stuff that they're not allowed to see in a routine inspection, they cannot do that. Here they can do the email transfer and web services transfer for the last 8 days of logs. You can also plug in that officer code for the comments right there. You can put in their email maybe, or maybe their badge number. However, if you exit this page, or if they exit this page, it will not let them go any further without plugging in that code that you initially put in. So it gives them a nice hurdle to keep everybody even keel without anybody looking at stuff they shouldn't be looking at.
Did they see your messages you've been sending to your DM during that inspection? Or? Let's say,
they'd have to
let's say
know-
you had an issue with a trailer or something yesterday or something like that.
So the only thing they're allowed to see is on this page, meaning hours of service and the last inspection that you've completed. Yeah. So yeah, as far as getting back to the main page, if you get to this exit screen, you just want to plug in your number one more time and tap on continue. We'll get you back to this page here. Okay, final 2 things we'll go over is logging out of Geo-Tab. Reasons why you might want to log out, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but you know, if you are getting into a shop, if your truck's getting into a shop, you want to make sure you log out of your truck so that time that is driven by the mechanic is not going to be assigned to you. Other reason is, again, that 14-day time limit as far as being logged in here. You want to make sure you yourself log out before that 14-day limit is out, or it will take you out of the application. To do that, you tap your name at the top there, and then tap log out below your name. When you do that, it's going to show your trailer number, your shipment number. It's just verifying that you still have that on you while you are logged out. If that is the case, you would just tap save and continue. It will also prompt you to verify your logs. You can do it day by day by tapping verify on that date. But if you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, it will show that you can verify all days right at the bottom. So if you've got several days of unverified logs, you can knock them all out all at once. And tap agree to certify those logs. All right, finally it's going to make me choose a new status before I log out. I would just want to make sure I have off duty selected. If I tap it on duty and verify and log myself out, it might, I might keep myself on duty. I might not remember to log back in and log off duty. So I would suggest making sure I have off duty selected and tap verify and log out. Now when I do that, it's going to show this page here. Where again, I do not want to log in on this page. This is to log in straight to Geo-Tab. See, it shows the G up there. If you log in too many times in here, again, it will lock you out of your account. So to avoid that, make sure you tap the circle down here at the bottom of the screen. Tap that JCT Hub app in the top left-hand corner. and then tap into my hours of service over here on the right-hand side. That'll get me right back in, no problem at all. All right, I'm going to tap this little circle down here at the bottom. And what I want to do next is show you Drive-Wyze, which is right below JCT Hub. Drive-Wyze is to get you past those way stations without having to get stopped. As far as getting logged in there, please turn to page 9 in that handout I gave you, or that Tiffany gave you. If you're on page 9, check out number 7 on that list there for the miscellaneous tips. That'll show you how to get logged into Drive-Wyze. It'll show you your driver code is your username/password or username/email. And your password is that by scale by with the @ symbol in the middle of it. You just got to make sure you plug it in just as it is on that page.
That's like pre-pass, right?
Exactly.
So it'll pop up a little thing on your Geo-Tab that says enter or
Yeah, like you can pass.
bypass or
You
whatever.
shall not pass, one of those two.
Do y'all do pre-pass too, or is that on us?
I actually don't think we do any longer. I might be wrong on that. Angela would know in permits though. She would know that. All right. You will initially get this page whenever you get into Drive-Wyze. It'll show I have an account or I'm new here. You guys do have an account. We've built that out for you. Just got to remember where this password and username is. Again, it's on page 9, number 7. If you guys want to like write that down or circle it yourself, that would kind of help you remember it.
So is that your driver code you put in?
Yes, your driver code. Yes.
I'm having a-
Capitals?
How do you set up your Geo-Tab for Teams?
So, it is different.
Because there's several teams in here. I figured
Okay,
I'd ask
that's a
that
very good question. All right, so let's check this out. All right, so on this hours of service section right here, right, in JCT Hub, I have to start in JCT Hub. The first seat or whoever would log in first, it would show their driver code right here under hours of service, right? If they tapped into that, it would get to Geo-Tab. What it will show, though, is a button that's in pink or kind of like a reddish pink right below this hours of service box showing Add Team Driver. If that is not here, if this box is not there, what I want to do is log out and log back in. So I would tap this More section because it shows I can't add a team member. So I'm going to tap More and log out. So it's going to prompt me to log out of the whole thing.
didn't explain anything about Teams.
All right, so I would just want to log in one more time. And tap log in. And now it does show that add team driver button right there. So in the case that it doesn't show it, you just got to log out and log back in. And it should show that add team driver button. Now whenever I do that, I'm going to add a team driver. And there we'll show this page again where I need to plug in my co-driver's driver code and password. John, if you don't mind, can I use yours real quick?
My
I
phone?
mean, yeah, just do your, no, just do your driver code and password.
Oh, sure. CAJOH1.
And you just want to plug in the last 4 of your social?
3135.
I won't listen to that.
Ooh, I got me another login.
That's that login right there. Okay. When I do that, it will add my co-driver. Just right here. It might show a question like, let's see, it should, yeah, confirmation required. The individual in the driver's seat was disassociated from the vehicle. Do you want to select another vehicle? If you select another vehicle, you will be switched to the driver's view. That's perfectly fine. You just want to tap yes if you see that.
I'm a lead driver, just so you know now.
Sure, whatever.
Gotta straighten them out before you leave the yard.
All right.
While that's loading, if I try to get in this Drive-Wyze thing and my login's not working, will it log me out?
No. Yeah, it wouldn't lock you out. All right, it's taking forever.
I logged off my truck because it's in the shop. Does that
Okay.
interfere?
So tap in there now. Let's see if it'll log me in.
Yep.
Oh, I'm up there.
Yep. So, yes, it's going to show both of us up here. However, I'm not logged into the truck. It'll probably do that here in a second. Probably do that. Maybe not.
It showed it up there, it had my name.
Yes. So I'm going to log into the truck and show you guys what that looks like. All right. All right. So you can see up here, it shows my name up there at the top. If I tap into that box, you'll see it shows both of our names right here. However, my name has the steering wheel on it. That means that I am better than John. No, not really. It means that I am in the driver's seat. That means I should be the one driving. If I want to swap that, if now John needs to be driving, I would tap this driver's seat button down at the bottom and tap John's name. There it will now show he's got the steering wheel by his name, which means he would be the one getting the drive logs with the movement.
Does the pay work that way, like you do your miles if you're a team driver?
I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Okay, I was just
That's
curious.
a very good question, though. Yes, so okay, yes, it still shows my name at the top, though, there, right? Which means if I was to do an inspection right now, like if John was to try to do an inspection and it had my name at the top, it would show that I would be the one doing the inspection. I would be the one put on duty. It also shows under here my hours of service. Now it does show that I do not have Drive accessible on my screen here. It just shows on duty. So what I want to do though is switch to John. I want to tap John's name there. So it will show him doing the inspection and not me. Okay? Another thing to keep in mind, it will always show you this red bar across the screen for one of you two co-drivers. So for me, for instance, it doesn't show that red bar. For John, it's going to show it. The reason for that is because I was the one that initially logged into JCT Hub. Okay, another thing to keep in mind is the phone app. I would say if you're a team, you only want to use Geo-Tab on the tablet. The reason for that is because you both will be logged in as co-drivers here. However, if one of you has Geo-Tab on their phone, the other one has Geo-Tab on their phone, essentially that will be conflicting information, right? Because you'll be logged in on your phone as you won't have the other driver logged in. The other driver will have themselves logged in, and therefore it will confuse Geo-Tab. They'll think, well, which one is driving? And in that case, it might put both of you guys into drive at that point. So I would say make sure, hey, what's up?
Sorry.
How's it going?
Oh gosh, I got a class. Sorry.
It's okay. So yes, at that point, I would just suggest make sure if you are a team, you only have Geo-Tab on the tablet, not on your personal phones. Okay? Feel good? Feel good?
Yeah,
And that was like,
We gotta get in the app first.
yeah, I can.
Yeah, we're all tired.
It's all good. Yeah, give it like a week, give it like 2 weeks. You guys will be pros, I have no doubt. If you do have any questions, my phone number and my email address is at the front of that packet that again, Tiffany handed out. So if you want to reach out, I would say right now, an email is much more likely to get answered right away than a phone call, just because we're putting a lot of people into the tablet all at once, so it's hard to get a hold of you right now. Yes, sir.
I have one question. Like when you're on home time, do they email you that load? Or-
Yeah, they would put it through the application, right? So if you had the phone app,
Oh, okay.
you'd be able to,
before that.
you'd be able to answer it on your phone. Yeah, good question.
So say like we're co-drivers and stuff, and then I just realize that it's not gonna work out. How do I log off?
Okay,
Of your
so-
truck, you know?
I'm gonna log you out, all right? I'm
Oh,
logging
okay, I
him
was
out.
just saying, in case things don't work out, you know?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
You said we can't both be logged into the Geo-Tab at the same, on our phones, but can we be logged into JCT Hub?
Oh,
on our
yes,
phones?
absolutely.
Okay.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I told them we were gonna.
So what do you just plug in the Geo-Tab or something, go to your Play Store?
Yeah, if you have an iPhone, I should say this again, if you have an iPhone, please come see me and write your email down on this, this little pad. That way I can send you an email.
So which one? Right here?
For me, that you have on iPhone. He has to send you.
So what I'll do is maybe I'll upload this so it'll be available to drivers and they
Sure.
can maybe re-see it again and maybe find out something and
Yeah.
listen to and stuff.
Yeah, email it to me, please. That'd be
Okay,
awesome.
most definitely. No, you want to sign yourself off now?
This is Kyle Mitchell. I just want to say to all the ladies out there, you know, give me a, no, I'm good.
Cool, cool. All right, everybody. I think it was a good class. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.